is to move from library to develop mode and to use the basic tools for editing. So I'm going to keep using my Sea Ranch tree pictures. And I think, which one do I like? I'm interested in that. Actually, I kind of like this. It's like lines going back and then there's some brightness back here. So I want to make it so that I'm going to make this a little less bright and this a little less dark in here and deal with that spot right there. So, okay, I'm going to click first on the word develop and you can see the side panels changed. We are going to use basic. We're going to use crop, which I'm circling right here. After we use crop, we're going to look at the profiles. So we can look at what overall kind of color palette or black and white we want the picture to have. Then we'll do our basic tools, a little bit of tone curve, and then we'll go down to the bottom and look at the effects tools. And that will do it. Okay, so always start at the top and work your way down. I like that this picture is tall and thin, so I'm going to stay with that. I'm going to go with 5 by 7. And what I'm using to make my decision is how the lines go from the bottom to the top. And I can also go on the angle, go like that. So that makes me happy. What I'm looking at is how do the twigs at the bottom of the page line up. But once I have it, it's good to go. So I'm clicking on the mouse and dragging around, and that's how you see this crop tool turn into like a little white Mickey Mouse glove. Like that. And then once I've got that, I can click on the tool, and there we go. Okay, so there's your first one. Next up, we got to decide, do I want this to be a black and white or a color picture? Right now, it says profile is color. That's fine. Click on the 4 boxes. And you'll see that on the 4 boxes, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 different ways of looking at this picture. You have a bunch of filters called artistic, which keep the picture in color, but like this is making it more purple, more blue, more orangey red. So you just scroll over and see if you like it. I kind of like this one. And then there's a slider so you can make more of the effect or less. What I like on this one is the way the trees kind of turn this steely blue color and this area becomes kind of warm. I like the way those colors look together. But I can test all kinds of things before I go down. What if I thought this was better as black and white? I'm going to scroll over, pick whatever you want. Let's look at vintage, because I feel like this is sort of an old, mysterious place. Kind of like that. Oh, I like that one. Okay, so I'm going to go with vintage 9. And again, you can slide this back and forth to get what you like. This is not the only step, but you're just watching the basic colors. So I'm going to close it. So step 1, crop. Step 2, profiles. Now I'm going to go down, just adding some warmth. And so I'm doing the temperature and tint sliders. And those are going to alter the color just a little bit. Exposure makes the whole picture brighter or the whole thing darker. I actually like the overall brightness of the picture. What I want to work on is this area is really bright and this area I'd like to sing into some more. So I'm going to go to highlights and bring the highlights down. And this is only hitting the areas that are too bright. Shadows, I'd like to go open those shadows up a little bit, so I go to the plus side. For the whites, I'm going to take them down a little bit. Blacks, I'm actually going to take those guys down too, because this shouldn't be bright light here. It should just be a little bit less. All right, texture. If I take the texture down, it softens things. If I take it up, It makes things more well defined. Clarity does it too. Clarity's really making the details show up in the bark. I like that. Let's see what dehaze does. Dehaze seems to add some contrast. If I go in the other direction, it makes it kind of foggy and white, like it's kind of misty, dreamy. I might keep that. I'm not sure. Like I'm looking through a fog. Vibrance. I'm going to turn the vibrance down a little bit. This picture was taken, these trees are right on the ocean coast. And so if I can play with this highlight area and make this picture look a little more foggy, that might be kind of fun. I'm going to bring the highlights and the whites down. Saturation. If I go up, it makes everything more orangey red. I'm just going to leave saturation alone. Okay. 2 more tools for us to look at. The tone curve. I'd like to make the white areas a little bit brighter because in fog, bright things are very bright and then dark things kind of lack detail. Nope. I could like that. Okay. I'm going to go back up and I'm going to play with the blacks just a little bit more. Like that. And I'm going to take this guy down so it's not quite so orange in the highlight areas. Now, the next thing I'm going to look at is dealing with this area that's really bright, and I'm going to use a mask to fix that. So I'm going to go right here to the mask tool, and I'm just going to use a brush. And right now when I paint, I'm going to make it kind of a really bright blue so I can see exactly where my brush is painting. To make the brush bigger, I have 2 choices. I can either do it right here on these sliders so I can make it real big, and I'm going to do what's called a high feather. I don't know if you could see it, but when I was working with the brush a little bit, and if I moved the feather around, there's like an outer ring. That's just how the brush is going to blend. I would like this brush to blend quite a bit. So I'm going to I moved the feather up to like 80 out of 100. And now I'm going to start painting sort of in here. So where it's this light blue turquoise color is where it's going to change. So if I go like this and I turn off show overlay, I can use these guys right here. Bring that down. Bring that up. Looking to make it sort of darker. There we go. Okay. And I'm pretty happy with that mask. I think that's really pretty good. So I'm now going to close that mask. Checking my tone curve again. How do I feel about it? I like it. Okay, so now we're going to go to our last tool, which is down here at the bottom under Effects. And Effects does this thing called a vignette, and it'll either add brightness or darkness all around the edge. I like it adding darkness. So if I do it 100%, it's like I'm looking through a black piece of paper with a hole cut out. If I go plus 100%, it's the opposite. It's like I'm looking through white. I just want to darken the edges a little bit. There we go. Okay. So that is how to use our main basic tools and tone curve and effects to edit a picture. When we turn in pictures, we turn them in with the history as well. So in case you don't remember this part, every step that I did is over here on the left-hand side, going all the way back to import. So if I needed to look at the original, I could just click on it. There's my original. And then I can keep clicking all the way up and it shows me every step I made until I get to the very end. That's it.